In the vast expanse of the cosmos, where stars whispered secrets to those daring enough to listen, Alex Harlan piloted his sleek scout ship through the nebula clouds of the Orion Arm. He was a man of Earth, born in the bustling megacities of a world that had finally reached out to the stars. At 35, Alex had seen his share of wonders. Crystalline planets that sang when the wind blew, ancient ruins etched with languages no human could decipher, and the cold, indifferent void that reminded him how small he truly was. But nothing prepared him for the day he stumbled upon her. Alex's ship, the Wanderer, was a relic from the early days of interstellar exploration. Reliable, if a bit temperamental. He'd taken a solo contract from the United Earth Alliance to map uncharted sectors, a job that suited his restless soul. No family ties held him back. His parents had passed in the Great Migration Wars, and his only companion was the AI voice that hummed through the ship's systems, a dry-witted program named Echo. Captain Harlan. Echo intoned one evening as the ship drifted near a derelict space station orbiting a gas giant. Sensors detect anomalous energy signatures. Recommend caution, could be pirates, or worse. Alex leaned forward in his pilot's chair, his dark hair tousled from hours without sleep, his blue eyes scanning the holographic display. The station was a hulking mass of twisted metal, abandoned long ago by some forgotten corporation. But life signs flickered faintly from within. Curiosity tugged at him like gravity. "Patch me through to visual," he said, his voice steady but laced with excitement. The feed revealed corridors lined with flickering lights, debris floating in zero grav. And then, in a holding cell deep inside, he saw her. She was unlike anything he'd encountered. Her skin shimmered with an iridescent hue, shifting from deep violet to soft azure under the dim emergency glow. Long, tendril-like appendages cascaded from her head like living hair, pulsing gently with inner light. She was humanoid in form, 2 arms, 2 legs. A graceful figure, but her eyes were large, luminous orbs that held the depth of galaxies. She was chained to the wall. Her body slumped in exhaustion, yet even in captivity, there was an ethereal beauty to her. Alex's heart skipped. "Echo, is that an alien? Sentient?" "Affirmative. Bioscans indicate high intelligence. She's injured, multiple contusions, energy burns. Vital signs, stable, but weakening." He didn't hesitate. Suiting up in his EVA gear, Alex jetted across the void, breaching the station's airlock with practiced ease. The air inside was stale, laced with the metallic tang of ozone. He moved silently through the shadows, his pulse pistol at the ready. Whispers of doubt crept in. Why risk it? He was no hero, just a scout scraping by on contracts. But something about her pulled him forward. A silent plea in those glowing eyes he hadn't even met yet. As he approached the cell, she stirred. Her tendrils quivered, sensing his presence before she saw him. "Who are you?" Her voice echoed in his mind, not through sound, but a telepathic wave that washed over him like warm water. It was soft, melodic, carrying undertones of fear and hope. Alex froze, his helmet's visor fogging slightly from his quickened breath. "I'm Alex. From Earth. I saw you on my scans. You look like you need help." She lifted her head, those eyes locking onto his. Up close, he could see the faint scars on her arms, the way her skin rippled like water disturbed by a stone. "They call me Lyra. From the world of Illyria. I was taken by the collectors. Please, if you're real, don't leave me here." The collectors, he'd heard rumors. Ruthless alien slavers who harvested beings from across the stars for their black market zoos and experiments. Earth had clashed with them before. But out here, in the fringes, no one enforced the laws. "I won't," Alex promised, his voice firm. He activated his multi-tool, slicing through the energy chains with a burst of plasma. She collapsed into his arms, lighter than he expected, her body warm against his suit. A faint scent enveloped him, something like jasmine mixed with stardust. intoxicating and alien. As they made their way back to the Wanderer, alarms blared. The station's automated defenses had awakened, drones swarming like angry bees. Alex fired his pistol, blasts echoing in the corridors as he shielded Lyra with his body. She clung to him, her tendrils brushing his helmet, sending sparks of emotion through his mind. Gratitude, fear, a flicker of something deeper. Back on the ship, he sealed the airlock and punched the engines to full thrust, leaving the station exploding in their wake. Lyra lay on the medbay cot, her breathing shallow. Echo scanned her. Non-human physiology, but compatible with our regen tech. Administering nano-healers. Alex watched as the machines worked, her wounds closing with a soft glow. She opened her eyes, reaching out a hand. Her fingers were slender, ending in soft pads that pulsed with light. "You saved me, Alex. Of Earth. Why?" He shrugged, peeling off his helmet, revealing a face etched with stubble and quiet determination. "Because it was the right thing. And you looked like you could use a friend." A smile touched her lips, alien yet endearing. Friends. In my culture, that word carries weight. Bonds form quickly in the stars. As the ship hurtled into hyperspace, Alex felt a strange pull. It wasn't just the adventure. It was her. Lyra's presence filled the cabin with a subtle energy, like the hum of a distant song. He showed her around the ship, the cramped galley where he brewed synthetic coffee, the observation deck with its panoramic view of streaking stars. She moved with grace, her tendrils exploring surfaces curiously, absorbing textures and lights. "Tell me about Illyria," he asked one night, as they shared a meal of rehydrated rations. Her telepathic voice wove stories of crystal spires that sang in the wind, oceans that glowed with bioluminescent life, and a society where emotions were shared openly through empathic links. "It's beautiful," she said, her eyes distant. "But the collectors raided our outpost. They take what they want, twist it for profit." A shadow crossed her face, and she touched his arm. The contact sent a jolt through him, not pain, but a rush of her memories. The fear of capture, the loneliness of the cell. Alex shared his own tales of Earth's blue skies, crowded cities, the drive that pushed humans to the stars, despite their flaws. "We're stubborn," he laughed. "We don't give up easily. Their conversations stretched into the ship's artificial nights. Lyra's tendrils would occasionally brush against him, unintentional at first, but each touch deepened the connection. He learned her people communicated through empathy, sharing feelings as easily as words. "Try it," she urged, placing a tendril on his temple. A wave of warmth flooded him, her curiosity about him. A budding affection. It was intimate, vulnerable, like baring one's soul. Alex pulled back slightly, heart racing. "That's intense." She tilted her head. "Is it too much? Humans are guarded, I sense." "No," he admitted. "It's just new." As days blurred into weeks, evading collector patrols, Alex taught her human customs. He played old Earth music, jazz from the 20th century, melodies that made her tendrils dance in rhythm. In return, she showed him how to sense the ship's vibrations, feeling the universe's pulse. One evening, as they repaired a hull breach from a near-miss asteroid, Lyra's hand lingered on his. "Alex, your heart beats strong, like the core of a star." He met her gaze, the air thick with unspoken tension. "Yours too, Lyra. Whatever happens next, I'm glad I found you." Little did he know, their bond was just beginning to ignite, a flame that would burn brighter amid the dangers ahead. Word count, 1523. The stars streaked past like fleeting dreams as the Wanderer navigated the treacherous asteroid fields of the Vega sector. Alex gripped the controls, his knuckles white, while Lyra stood beside him, her tendrils extended like sensors, feeling the gravitational pulls. "Left now," she projected into his mind, her voice urgent yet calm. He banked sharply, avoiding a tumbling rock the size of a mountain. Sweat beaded on his forehead. How do you do that? It's like you can read the void. My people are attuned to the energies of space, she explained. A faint glow emanating from her skin. It's in our blood, or what you call DNA. Since their escape from the station, 2 weeks had passed in a blur of evasion and discovery. The collectors hadn't given up. Sensor pings indicated pursuit ships lurking in the shadows. Alex had plotted a course to a neutral outpost on Zirion Prime, a haven for smugglers and refugees where they might find allies, or at least a place to hide. But the journey was forging something unbreakable between them. Lyra's presence had transformed the ship from a lonely vessel into a shared sanctuary. She adapted quickly, her curiosity boundless. In the galley, she experimented with human food, wrinkling her nose at the bitterness of coffee but delighting in the sweetness of replicated chocolate. It melts like joy on the tongue, she said, her eyes sparkling. Alex found himself opening up in ways he hadn't since his academy days. He spoke of lost loves, a pilot named Sarah, who'd perished in a solar flare, and the solitude that defined his life. Out here, it's easy to forget what connection feels like. Lyra listened, her empathic touch soothing the old wounds. On Illyria, we link minds during times of sorrow. Let me show you. She placed a tendril on his chest, over his heart. Emotions flowed. Her compassion, a mirror to his pain, easing it like a balm. In return, he felt her own scars, the terror of abduction, the loss of her kin. Their physical proximity grew natural. During a routine system check, Lyra helped him calibrate the engines, her body brushing against his in the tight confines. Her skin was soft, warmer than human flesh, with a subtle vibration that hummed through him. "Sorry," he muttered, cheeks flushing. "Don't be," she replied, her voice a gentle wave. Touch is how we learn each other. That night, as the ship hummed in autopilot, they sat on the observation deck. The nebula outside painted the room in hues of purple and gold. Lyra shared stories of her world's festivals, where beings danced under twin moons, linking in ecstatic empathy. It's not just physical, it's souls intertwining. Alex leaned closer, drawn by her radiance. Sounds incredible. Humans have something similar. Love, passion, but it's messy, full of risks. Risks make it real, she whispered, her tendril grazing his cheek. A spark jumped between them, visions flashing, his laughter echoing in her mind, her grace filling his thoughts. The moment shattered when alarms blared. "Incoming vessels! Collector signatures!" Echo warned. Alex bolted to the bridge, Lyra right behind. 3 sleek hunters closed in, lasers charging. "Strap in," he said, diving the ship into an asteroid cluster for cover. Blasts rocked the hull as they weaved through the debris. Lyra's tendrils flared, enhancing the sensors. "They're flanking. Use the gravity well to slingshot." He trusted her instinct, pulling a maneuver that sent them hurtling past the pursuers. A torpedo grazed their shields, sparks flying. In the chaos, Lyra grabbed his hand, her empathy surging. Fear mingled with resolve, bolstering his focus. They escaped into hyperspace, but the damage was done. The engines smoked, life support flickering. Landing on a nearby moon for repairs, Alex suited up again, Lyra insisting on joining despite her inexperience. Under the moon's crimson glow, they worked side by side. Dust swirled around them as he welded panels, her tendrils holding tools with surprising dexterity. "You're amazing," he said, wiping grime from his face. She paused, her eyes meeting his. "As are you, Alex. Humans. Your ingenuity. Your fire. It's intoxicating." As the sun rose on the barren landscape, they shared a quiet moment by a crystalline outcrop. Lyra's hand found his, fingers intertwining. The touch evolved, her skin pulsing in rhythm with his pulse. A sensual current building. "Feel it," she urged. "Our bond grows." He did. It was more than attraction. It was a merging, alien and human souls dancing on the edge of something profound. Repairs complete, they lifted off. The pursuit far behind for now. But the bond lingered, a promise of deeper intimacy amid the stars. Hyperspace folded around the wanderer like a comforting blanket, but tension simmered beneath the calm. Alex and Lyra had evaded the collectors again, but the close calls were wearing thin. Xerion Prime loomed on the horizon, a sprawling orbital city teeming with every species imaginable. A neutral ground where deals were struck in shadowed cantinas. As they docked, Alex glanced at Lyra. She'd donned a hooded cloak to hide her distinctive features, but her glow peeked through. "Stay close," he advised. "This place is a viper's nest." She nodded, her mind brushing his with reassurance. "Together, we are strong." The station buzzed with life, hulking insectoids, bartering tech, ethereal gas beings floating through markets, humans haggling over fuel cells. Alex led them to a mechanics bay run by an old contact, a grizzled cyborg named Jax. "Need parts for a hyperdrive tune-up," Alex said, sliding credits across the counter. Jax eyed Lyra suspiciously but grunted approval. While the repairs commenced, they wandered the promenades. Lyra's wonder was infectious. She marveled at holographic ads, tasted exotic fruits from vendor stalls. So much diversity, she projected, yet so much isolation. "Why do beings here shield their emotions?" "Habit," Alex replied, smiling. "Earthlings especially. We build walls to protect ourselves." In a quiet alcove overlooking the docking rings, she turned to him. "Break yours for me, Alex." Her tendril caressed his neck, sending shivers down his spine. Images flooded, her desire to know him fully. A sensual curiosity that mirrored his growing fascination. He pulled her close, their foreheads touching. Their exploration deepened that night in a rented hab unit. With the city lights twinkling outside, Lyra shed her cloak, her skin shimmering. "Teach me human affection," she said softly. Alex's heart pounded as he kissed her, gentle at first, then with rising passion. Her lips were soft, tasting of ozone and sweetness. Her tendrils wrapped around him, amplifying sensations. Every touch echoed in waves of pleasure, her empathy heightening his arousal. Dunt was a dance of discovery, her body responding in ways alien yet harmonious. Pulses of light rippled across her skin as they entwined, emotions blending in a symphony of ecstasy. "This bond," she gasped in his mind. "It's eternal." But dawn brought reality. Jax warned of collector agents sniffing around. "They know about your blue girl. Bounty's high." Fleeing the station, they jumped to a remote nebula hideout. There, in the glowing mists, their connection flourished. Days were spent repairing the ship, nights in intimate communion. Lyra shared visions of Illyria's love rituals, communal, empathic merges under starlit skies. Alex countered with tales of Earth's romances, stolen kisses in rain, vows under ancient trees. "You humans fight for love," she observed, tracing patterns on his chest. "It's heroic, and you aliens feel it so deeply," he replied, lost in her eyes. A storm hit the nebula, electromagnetic pulses disrupting systems. Huddled in the dark, they clung together, her glow illuminating the cabin. Fear turned to passion, their bond a anchor in the chaos. As the storm cleared, sensors pinged a collector fleet approaching. "We can't run forever," Alex said. "Then we fight," Lyra declared, her resolve stealing his. Their escape led them deeper into uncharted space. The sensual thread between them, weaving tighter with every leap. The nebula's embrace faded as the wanderer emerged into the crystalline void of the Lyra cluster. Alex plotted a course to Lyra's homeworld, hoping her people could provide sanctuary. But the collectors were relentless, their ships like shadows on the scanners. Lyra stood on the bridge, her tendrils weaving patterns in the air, attuning to cosmic energies. "My kin will welcome you," she assured. Humans are legends in our lore, bold explorers who defy the odds. Menet, Alex chuckled. HFY! We call it back home. Humans! Fuck yeah! Means we're stubborn as hell. She laughed, a melodic chime in his mind. Yes, that fits. Their bond had evolved beyond words. Touches lingered, glances sparked fire. In the quiet hours, they explored each other with tender curiosity. Lyra's physiology fascinated him, her skin sensitive to emotions, glowing brighter in moments of joy. When we link, she explained, it's like merging stars, heat, light, unity. One evening, as they orbited a pulsar, pulsing light bathing the ship, they surrendered fully. Clothes discarded, bodies entwined, her empathy amplified every sensation. Pleasure cascaded in waves, his human passion meeting her alien grace in a crescendo of bliss. I love you, he whispered, the words raw and true. And I you, she replied, her essence enveloping him. But paradise was fleeting. A distress beacon from a nearby freighter drew them in a trap. Collector boarding parties swarmed, armored figures bursting through the airlock. Alex fought fiercely, pistol blazing, shielding Lyra. Get to the escape pod. No, she cried, her tendrils lashing out, disrupting enemy tech with empathic bursts. In the melee, he took a hit, pain searing his side. Lyra dragged him to safety, sealing a bulkhead. Hold on, she urged, her hands glowing as she channeled healing energy. They ejected in a pod, the Wanderer exploding behind them. Drifting, wounded but alive, Alex marveled at her strength. You saved me this time. We're one, she said simply. Crashing on a forested planetoid, they survived on wits and bond. Lyra foraged bioluminescent fruits, her knowledge sustaining them. Nights by campfires, they shared dreams, visions of a future together, blending worlds. Scavenging wreckage, Alex rebuilt a communicator. Illyria's close. We'll make it. As they hiked through alien jungles, vines glowing like her skin. Their intimacy deepened. In a hidden glade, under cascading waterfalls, they made love again. Water mingling with sweat, emotions raw and unbound. Rescue came a Illyrian scout ship, drawn by the signal. Lyra's people embraced them, healers mending Alex's wounds. But whispers of war followed. The collectors targeted Illyria next. In the spires of her home, Alex stood tall, a human among aliens. His bond with Lyra, a beacon of hope. Illyria's twin suns rose over horizons of shimmering crystal, casting rainbows across the landscape. Alex gazed from the balcony of Lyra's family spire, the air alive with harmonious hums from the structures. Lyra stood beside him, her hand in his, their bond a constant pulse. You belong here, she said, leaning into him. My people see your spirit, the fire of humanity. The Illyrians were a graceful race, their society built on empathy and unity. Councils met in open forums, decisions made through shared emotions. Alex was a novelty, his blunt human ways both amusing and admired. Tell us of Earth, elders urged, and he spun tales of innovation, resilience, the unyielding drive that conquered stars. But shadows loomed. Scouts reported collector fleets massing at the system's edge. They want me back, Lyra confided, fear tinging her thoughts. And now, our world. Alex pulled her close. We fight together. Preparations ensued. Illyrian tech empathic amplifiers, energy shields merged with Alex's ingenuity. He rigged drones with human explosives, turning defense into offense. In stolen moments, their love burned fierce. Amid crystal gardens, they escaped the chaos, bodies uniting in passionate embrace. Her tendrils explored him, heightening ecstasy, while his hands traced her curves, eliciting gasps of delight. This bond, he murmured. It's our weapon. The battle came swift. Collector ships darkened the skies, beams lancing down. Alex piloted a fighter. Lyra linked mentally, guiding strikes. Left flank weak now. Explosions bloomed as human tactics shattered alien formations. Illyrians cheered, their empathy surging like a tidal wave, bolstering warriors. In the thick of it, Lyra's ship was hit. Alex dove in, boarding the enemy vessel. Blaster in hand, he carved a path to her. Their bond, a guiding light. I'm here, he projected, freeing her from debris. Together, they turned the tide. Her powers disrupting Collector command, his resolve inspiring allies. Victory dawned. Fleets retreating. In the aftermath, Alex and Lyra stood amid ruins. Hands clasped. We did it, he said, kissing her deeply. But the bond called for more, a ritual merge under the moons, sealing their souls eternally. The moons of Illyria hung like jewels in the velvet sky, their light bathing the sacred grove in ethereal glow. Alex and Lyra walked hand in hand through fields of luminous flowers, petals unfurling at their approach. The battle's scars lingered bruises on his skin, fatigue in her eyes, but triumph infused the air. Tonight, we complete the bond, Lyra whispered, her voice a caress. In my culture, it's the ultimate union. Alex nodded, heart swelling. I'm ready. The grove was a natural amphitheater, crystals amplifying emotions. Elders gathered, their tendrils linking in silent blessing. Lyra shed her garments, her body a canvas of shifting colors. Alex followed, vulnerable yet empowered. They knelt facing each other, tendrils encircling him. Sensations flooded. Her love, vast as oceans. His passion, fierce as storms. Bodies drew close, touches igniting fire. It was sensual transcendence, every kiss. Every caress amplified tenfold. Pleasures cascading in endless loops. Waves of ecstasy built, peaking in a burst of light, souls merging irrevocably. Forever, they thought as one. Days turned to peace. Alex integrated into Illyrian life, his human traits enhancing their tech. He built bridges literal and metaphorical, fostering alliances with Earth. Lyra bloomed beside him, their bond a source of strength. Intimate nights under stars, lazy afternoons in crystal pools, each moment deepening their connection. But echoes of Collectors persisted, rumors of a greater threat. We face it together, Alex vowed. Their escape had led to this, a sensual bond defying the cosmos. Human and alien united in love's unbreakable forge. Whispers of a new danger rippled through Illyria's councils, a Collector overlord, Zorath, seeking vengeance. Fleets regrouped, augmented by dark alliances. Alex, now a honored defender, strategized with elders. Hit their supply lines, he urged. Humans excel at guerrilla tactics. Lyra, ever his anchor, linked minds during deliberations, her empathy clarifying thoughts. Your ideas shine, she projected warmly. Their personal life flourished amid tension. In private chambers, they explored the bond's depths, sensual experiments blending human ardor with alien ecstasy. Her tendrils traced erogenous paths, eliciting moans. His embraces grounded her in physical bliss. You complete me, she sighed post-climax. Scouting missions took them to frontier worlds. On a volcanic planet, evading patrols, they found solace in a geothermal cave. Steam rising, bodies slick. They made love with urgent passion, the bond shielding them from fear. Zorath struck a massive assault on Illyria's outer defenses. Alex led a strike team, Lyra coordinating from command. Battles raged in space, lasers clashing like thunder. Boarding Zorath's flagship, Alex confronted the Overlord, a hulking beast with mechanical augmentations. You took her once, Alex growled. Never again. Lyra's voice in his mind. I'm with you. Empathic surges disrupted Zorath's tech, allowing Alex's shot to fell him. The fleet crumbled, peace restored. In victory's glow, Alex and Lyra renewed vows, their sensual bond a testament to cross-species love. Years passed on Illyria, but the stars called. Alex and Lyra, now legends, embarked on a new voyage, ambassadors bridging worlds. Their ship, the Eternal Bond, carried hopes of unity. The bond endured, sensual and profound. In hyperspace's quiet, they celebrated anniversaries with intimate rituals, bodies and minds entwined, pleasures evolving with time. Challenges arose, cultural clashes, new threats, but human tenacity and alien empathy prevailed. Our escape was just the beginning, Lyra mused. Alex smiled. And our bond, the endless journey. In the cosmos's embrace, they wrote a tale of love defying boundaries, a sensual union illuminating the dark. The Wanderer sliced through the void of the Vega sector, its hull vibrating as it navigated the chaotic swirl of an asteroid field. Alex Harlan gripped the controls, his knuckles pale from the strain, sweat beading on his brow. Beside him, Lyra stood poised, her iridescent skin catching the faint glow of the console lights. Her tendrils extended like delicate sensors, quivering as they attuned to the invisible currents of space. "Left now!" Her voice echoed in his mind, sharp with urgency but steady as a star. Alex yanked the yoke, banking the ship hard to port. A jagged asteroid the size of a mountain spun past, missing them by meters. His pulse raced, but he trusted her instincts implicitly. "How do you do that?" he asked, voice tinged with awe as he steadied the ship. "It's like you're reading the void itself." Lyra's luminous eyes flicked to him, a faint smile curling her lips. "My people are born of the stars' energies," she projected telepathically, her tone warm yet focused. "We feel the pull of gravity, the hum of cosmic tides. It's in our essence what you'd call DNA." 2 weeks had passed since their daring escape from the derelict station, a blur of adrenaline and quiet moments that wove their lives closer. The collectors hadn't relented. Faint sensor pings betrayed pursuit ships lurking just beyond scanning range, like predators circling in the dark. Alex had charted a course to Zirion Prime, a lawless outpost orbiting a distant star, known as a haven for smugglers, mercenaries, and those seeking to vanish. It wasn't safe, but it was their best shot at finding allies, or at least a place to catch their breath. The asteroid field was their latest gamble, a natural maze to shake off trackers. Lyra's presence had transformed the Wanderer from a solitary vessel into something alive, almost sacred. She adapted to shipboard life with a childlike curiosity that warmed Alex's guarded heart. In the cramped galley, she wrinkled her nose at the bitterness of his synthetic coffee, but gasped in delight at the sweetness of replicated chocolate, her tendrils quivering as she savored it. "It melts like joy on the tongue," she said, her eyes sparkling like twin nebulae. Alex found himself opening up in ways he hadn't since his youth. Over late-night talks, he shared fragments of his past. His parents lost in the migration wars, a brief love with a pilot named Sarah, who'd perished in a solar flare, and the quiet solitude that had defined his years among the stars. "Out here," he admitted, stirring a cup of lukewarm coffee, "it's easy to forget what connection feels like." Lyra listened, her tendrils brushing his arm gently, sending a soothing wave of empathy through him. "On Illyria, we share sorrow through our links," she said softly. "Let me show you." She placed a tendril against his chest, just over his heart. A flood of warmth enveloped him, her compassion mirroring his pain, easing the ache like a balm. In return, he glimpsed her own scars, the terror of her abduction, the hollow loneliness of her cell. Their physical closeness grew as natural as breathing. During a routine check of the ship's engines, Lyra helped him recalibrate the plasma relays, her body brushing against his in the tight confines of the engineering bay. Her skin was soft, warmer than human flesh, vibrating with a subtle energy that sent a shiver through him. "Sorry," he muttered, cheeks flushing as he adjusted a wrench. "Don't be," she replied, her telepathic voice a gentle ripple. "Touch is how we learn each other." That night, as the ship drifted on autopilot through the glowing mists of a nebula, They sat together on the observation deck. The swirling purples and golds outside painted the room in dreamlike hues. Lyra shared stories of Illyria's festivals, grand gatherings where her people danced under twin moons, their minds linking in ecstatic empathy, emotions flowing like rivers. "It's not just physical," she explained, her tendrils swaying gently. "It's souls intertwining, becoming one with the cosmos." Alex leaned closer, drawn by the radiance in her voice. "Sounds incredible. Humans have something like that love, passion, but it's messy, full of risks and broken hearts. Risks make it real," she whispered, a tendril grazing his cheek. A spark jumped between them, her emotions flooding his mind. Curiosity about him, a budding affection that mirrored his own growing fascination. He saw himself through her eyes, resilient, bold, a spark of human fire against the vast dark. The moment shattered as alarms blared through the ship. "Incoming vessels, collector signatures detected." Echo's voice cut through, sharp and mechanical. Alex bolted to the bridge, Lyra close behind. The holo display showed 3 sleek hunter ships closing fast, their weapons charging with an ominous glow. "Strap in," he ordered, diving the Wanderer into the densest part of the asteroid field for cover. Blasts rocked the hull as they weaved through tumbling rocks. Lyra's tendrils flared, amplifying the ship's sensors with her innate connection to space. "They're flanking us! Use the gravity well to slingshot!" she projected, her mind a beacon of clarity amid the chaos. Trusting her, Alex executed a daring maneuver, using an asteroid's gravity to hurl the ship into a tight arc. The collector's torpedoes grazed their shields, sparks erupting across the consoles. In the frenzy, Lyra grabbed his hand, her empathic link surging through him, fear mingled with resolve, bolstering his focus like a second heartbeat. They shot into hyperspace, the hunters left scrambling in their wake. But the damage was done, smoke curled from the engine bay, and life support flickered warningly. Alex scanned for a safe haven, spotting a small, uncharted moon nearby. "We'll land there. Patch things up," he said, voice tight. Lyra nodded, her eyes steady. "I'm with you." The moon was a desolate orb, its surface a patchwork of crimson rock and glowing mineral veins. They suited up and worked side by side under the eerie red light, dust swirling around them as Alex welded hull plates, and Lyra used her delicate tendrils to hold tools with surprising precision. Her movements were graceful, almost hypnotic, as she adapted to the alien environment. "You're amazing," Alex said, wiping grime from his face as he sealed the last patch. "Never thought I'd see an Illyrian fixing a human ship." She paused, her luminous eyes meeting his. "And you, Alex, you're fearless. Humans, your ingenuity, your fire. It's intoxicating." As the moon's sun rose, casting long shadows across the barren landscape, they found a moment of stillness beside a crystalline outcrop. Lyra's hand found his, her fingers intertwining with a gentle pulse. The touch evolved, her skin vibrated in rhythm with his heartbeat, a sensual current building between them. "Feel it," she urged softly, her voice a whisper in his mind. "Our bond grows." He did. It was more than attraction, it was a merging, a dance of human and alien souls, teetering on the edge of something profound. He leaned in, their foreheads nearly touching, the air electric with unspoken desire. Repairs complete, they lifted off, the pursuit ships nowhere in sight for now. The Wanderer hummed back to life, carrying them toward Xerion Prime. But the bond between Alex and Lyra lingered, a quiet promise of deeper intimacy amid the stars' endless expanse. As they hurtled through hyperspace, Alex glanced at her, her silhouette glowing softly against the console. "Whatever's waiting for us out there," he said, voice low. "We face it together." Lyra's tendrils brushed his shoulder, sending a ripple of warmth through him. "Always," she replied, her mind entwining with his, a sensual thread weaving tighter with every leap into the unknown. He, Wanderer, emerged from hyperspace with a shudder, its hull groaning as it settled into a low orbit around Xerion Prime. The station loomed ahead, a chaotic sprawl of interconnected domes and spires, glinting under the light of a distant blue star. It was a melting pot of the galaxy's fringes, part marketplace, part refuge, part powder keg. Alex adjusted the controls, his jaw tight, aware of the risks they were taking. Beside him, Lyra adjusted the hood of her cloak, concealing the iridescent glow of her skin. Her tendrils, tucked beneath the fabric, twitched nervously, sensing the cacophony of emotions emanating from the station below. "Stay close," Alex said, his voice low as he guided the ship toward a docking bay. "This place is a viper's nest. Trust no one unless I say so." Lyra's luminous eyes met his, steady despite the tension. "Together, we are strong," she projected, her telepathic voice a warm anchor in his mind. The docking bay was a hive of activity. Drones buzzed, loading cargo. A hulking insectoid bartered with a human smuggler, and a pair of gas-based beings floated past, their forms shimmering like living auroras. The air smelled of ozone, fuel, and the faint tang of alien spices. Alex led Lyra through the crowded promenade, his hand hovering near his pulse pistol. She moved with grace, her cloak blending her into the chaos, but he could feel her presence beside him, a subtle hum of energy that steadied his nerves. Their first stop was a mechanic's bay run by Jax, a grizzled cyborg Alex had crossed paths with during his smuggling days. Jax's left arm was a gleaming prosthetic, his right eye a glowing optic that scanned them as they approached. Jax grunted, wiping grease from his hands. "Didn't expect you back in this hellhole. What's the job?" "Hyperdrive needs a tune-up," Alex said, sliding a stack of credits across the counter. "And keep it quiet. We're not here for attention." Jax's optic lingered on Lyra, catching the faint glow beneath her hood. "Got yourself a fancy friend, eh? Hope she's worth the trouble." He pocketed the credits and waved them toward a repair stall. "Give me a day. Don't get dead in the meantime." As Jax's crew worked on the Wanderer, Alex and Lyra ventured into the station's heart. The promenades were a sensory overload. Holographic ads flickered in a dozen languages. Vendors hawked glowing fruits and neural implants, and music pulsed from hidden speakers, blending human beats with alien harmonics. Lyra's curiosity was infectious. She paused to touch a bioluminescent fruit, her tendrils quivering as she absorbed its texture. "So much diversity," she projected, her voice tinged with awe. "Yet, so much isolation. Why do beings here shield their emotions?" Alex shrugged, guiding her past a crowd of arguing traders. "Habit, mostly. Earthlings, especially, we build walls to protect ourselves. Out here, trust is a luxury." They found a quiet alcove overlooking the docking rings, the station's lights twinkling like a constellation below. Lyra turned to him, her hood slipping slightly, revealing the curve of her cheek. "Break your walls for me, Alex," she said softly, a tendril brushing his neck. The touch sent shivers through him, her emotions flooding his mind. A sensual curiosity, a yearning to know him fully, mirroring the pull he felt toward her. He stepped closer, their foreheads nearly touching, the air thick with unspoken tension. "I'm trying," he murmured, his voice rough with honesty. Her scent jasmine and stardust wrapped around him, intoxicating. That night, they rented a hab unit in the station's quieter sector, a small pod with a view of the starfield. Lyra shed her cloak, her skin shimmering in the dim light, shifting from violet to azure. "Teach me human affection," she said, her telepathic voice a gentle invitation. Alex's heart pounded as he closed the distance. His lips found hers soft, warm, tasting of ozone and sweetness. The kiss was gentle at first, then deepened, a spark igniting between them. Her tendrils wrapped around him, amplifying every sensation. The brush of her skin, the rhythm of her breath. It was like diving into a warm sea, her empathy heightening his desire, their emotions blending in a dance of intimacy. Her fingers traced his jaw, and he felt her pleasure echo in his mind, a feedback loop of passion that left him breathless. "This is new," he gasped, pulling back to meet her gaze. "For me too," she replied, her eyes glowing brighter. "But beautiful." Their moment was cut short by a sharp knock. Jax's voice crackled through the comm. "Harlan, get your ass to the bay. Got trouble sniffing around collector agents asking questions about a blue girl." Alex cursed, grabbing his gear. "Stay here," he told Lyra, but she shook her head, her tendrils flaring with determination. "I'm not hiding anymore," she said, pulling her cloak back on. "We face this together." They slipped through the station's underbelly, avoiding patrols. Jax met them in a shadowed corner of the repair bay, his optic glinting. "Bounty's high on your friend," he muttered. "Collectors know she's here. My crew's loyal, but credits talk louder than oaths in this place." Alex clenched his fists. "How long till the ship's ready?" 2 hours, tops. Get moving before they lock down the docks." They fled through service tunnels, the hum of the station's reactors masking their steps. Lyra's tendrils sensed the collector's presence, cold, predatory emotions lurking nearby. "They're close," she whispered in his mind, guiding him through a maze of pipes and conduits. Emerging near the Wanderer, they found it surrounded by armed figures in sleek black armor collector enforcers. Alex drew his pistol, heart racing, but Lyra placed a hand on his arm. "Wait," she projected, her tendrils pulsing. A wave of empathic energy surged from her, disorienting the enforcers, their tech flickering as her power disrupted their neural implants. Alex seized the moment, firing precise shots to scatter the group. They sprinted to the ship, diving through the airlock as alarms screamed. The Wanderer roared to life, blasting out of the dock as laser fire grazed its hull. In hyperspace, safe for the moment, Alex slumped in the pilot's chair, adrenaline still coursing through him. Lyra knelt beside him, her hand on his. "You fought for me," she said, her voice soft but fierce. "No one's done that before." He managed a tired smile. "You're worth it." They set course for a remote nebula, a glowing hideout where they could regroup. There, in the misty glow of cosmic clouds, their bond deepened. Days were spent repairing the ship's battered systems, Lyra learning to wield human tools with her dexterous tendrils. Nights were for intimacy, quiet moments in the observation deck, her skin glowing as they shared stories. She spoke of Illyria's love rituals, communal merges under starlit skies where emotions wove entire communities together. Alex countered with tales of Earth's romances, stolen kisses in rainstorms, vows whispered under ancient oaks. "You humans fight for love," she observed, tracing patterns on his chest as they lay together, the nebula's light bathing them. "It's heroic." "And you aliens feel it so deeply," he replied, lost in her eyes. "It's like touching a star." A sudden electromagnetic storm hit the nebula, pulses disrupting the ship's systems. Huddled in the darkened cabin, they clung to each other, Lyra's glow illuminating the space. Fear turned to passion, her tendrils wrapping around him, their bodies pressing close. The storm's chaos faded as they lost themselves in each other, the bond a shield against the dark. When the storm cleared, sensors pinged a collector fleet approaching, drawn by their trail. Alex met Lyra's gaze, resolve hardening. "We can't run forever." "Then we fight," she declared, her empathic strength bolstering his own. As they plotted their next move, the nebula's mists parted, revealing the path ahead. Their escape from Zirion Prime had tested them, but the sensual thread of their bond grew stronger, a beacon of hope guiding them through the star's endless dangers. The Wanderer broke free from the nebula's glowing embrace, emerging into the crystalline expanse of the Lyra cluster. Stars glittered like scattered diamonds against the velvet black, their light refracting through wisps of cosmic dust. Alex Harlan adjusted the nav controls, plotting a course toward Illyria, Lyra's homeworld, where they hoped her people could offer sanctuary. The Collector's pursuit had grown relentless, their ships ghosting on the edges of the sensors, like predators stalking prey. Each jump through hyperspace felt like a stolen breath, a fleeting reprieve from the chase. Lyra stood on the bridge, her tendrils weaving intricate patterns in the air, attuned to the subtle energies of the cosmos. Her iridescent skin shimmered, catching the starlight filtering through the viewport. "My kin will welcome you," she projected into Alex's mind, her voice a melody of hope. "In our lore, humans are legends, bold explorers who defy the odds. Alex chuckled, easing back in the pilot's chair, his hands still gripping the controls. We call it HFY back home, humans fuck. Yeah, means we're stubborn as hell. Her laughter rippled through his thoughts, a chime as bright as Illyria's crystal spires. Yes, that fits you perfectly. Their bond had deepened into something undeniable, a force as tangible as gravity. Touches lingered longer now, glances sparking with an intensity that set Alex's pulse racing. In the quiet hours between jumps, they explored each other with tender curiosity. Lyra's physiology fascinated him, her skin, sensitive to emotions, glowed brighter in moments of joy or passion, its warmth a stark contrast to the cold void outside. When we link, she explained one evening, her tendrils brushing his arm. It's like merging stars, heat, light, unity. They were orbiting a pulsar, its rhythmic pulses bathing the ship in waves of light. When they surrendered fully to the pull between them, the observation deck became their sanctuary, the starfield a backdrop to their intimacy. Clothes fell away, and their bodies entwined, her skin pulsing in rhythm with his heartbeat. Her tendrils traced paths across his chest, amplifying every sensation. A caress became a cascade, a kiss a supernova. Pleasure surged through them, her empathic link weaving their emotions into a tapestry of ecstasy. I love you, Alex whispered, the words raw and unguarded, spilling from a place he'd long kept locked. And I you, Lyra replied, her essence enveloping him, a warmth that felt like coming home. But their paradise was fragile, a fleeting moment in a universe bent on tearing them apart. A distress beacon interrupted their reverie, its signal pulsing from a nearby freighter drifting in the cluster's outer reaches. Alex hesitated, his instincts screaming trap, but Lyra's compassion urged action. If someone needs help, we cannot turn away, she projected, her eyes pleading. Against his better judgment, he agreed. The Wanderer approached the derelict vessel, its hull scarred and lifeless. No sooner had they docked than the trap sprang. Collector boarding parties swarmed through the airlock, armored figures wielding energy rifles. Alex reacted on instinct, his pulse pistol blazing as he shielded Lyra. Get to the escape pod, he shouted, blasting a path through the attackers. No! Lyra cried, her tendrils flaring with power. She unleashed an empathic burst, a wave of raw emotion that scrambled the Collector's tech, their visors flickering as neural implants shorted out. Together, they fought, a whirlwind of human grit and alien grace, carving their way back to the Wanderer. But the cost was high. A stray energy bolt grazed Alex's side, pain searing through him as he stumbled. Lyra dragged him to safety, sealing a bulkhead behind them. Hold on, she urged, her hands glowing as she channeled healing energy into his wound. Her touch was both soothing and electric, her fear for him mingling with fierce determination. They ejected in an escape pod just as the Wanderer's engines overloaded, the ship exploding in a brilliant flare that lit the void. Drifting in the pod, Alex clung to consciousness, Lyra's glow the only light in the cramped space. You saved me this time, he rasped, managing a weak smile. We're one, she said simply, her tendrils brushing his face, sending waves of comfort through his pain. The pod crashed on a forested planetoid, its canopy a tangle of bioluminescent vines and towering ferns. They survived on wits and instinct, Lyra foraging glowing fruits that sustained them, her knowledge of alien flora a lifeline. Nights were spent by makeshift campfires, the planetoid's twin moons casting a silver glow. They shared dreams, visions of a future where they could live without running, blending human and Illyrian lives in harmony. In a clearing one night, under a sky ablaze with stars, their intimacy deepened. Lyra's skin shimmered as she pressed against him, her tendrils weaving around his shoulders. Feel us, she whispered, guiding his hands to her curves. Their love was urgent, raw, the forest's hum blending with their gasps. Water from a nearby stream mingled with sweat, their bond a defiance of the dangers hunting them. Alex scavenged parts from the pod's wreckage, cobbling together a crude communicator. Illyria's close, he said, hope flickering in his chest. We'll get a signal out. As they hiked through glowing jungles, vines pulsing like Lyra's skin, Their connection grew ever stronger. In a hidden glade, under cascading waterfalls, they made love again. The water cool against their heated skin, emotions unbound. Her empathic link amplified every touch, every sigh, until they were lost in a sea of shared sensation. Rescue came unexpectedly, a sleek Illyrian scout ship drawn by their signal. Lyra's people welcomed them with open arms, their healers mending Alex's wounds with crystalline tech that hummed like music. The spires of Illyria rose around them, shimmering under twin suns, a world of beauty and unity. But whispers of war followed. The collectors were massing, their sights set on Illyria itself. In the heart of a crystal council chamber, Alex stood tall, a human among aliens, his hand clasped in Lyra's. "We'll fight," he vowed, her strength flowing through him. "For your home, for us." Their escape had led them here, to a world of light and danger, where their sensual bond burned brighter than ever, a beacon against the gathering storm. The twin suns of Illyria rose over a horizon of shimmering crystal spires, their light fracturing into rainbows that danced across the landscape. Alex Harlan stood on the balcony of Lyra's family spire, the air alive with a harmonic hum from the crystalline structures, a song that seemed to resonate in his bones. Below, Illyria's cities pulsed with life. Graceful figures moved through open plazas, their tendrils weaving in silent communion, emotions shared as freely as breath. Lyra stood beside him, her hand warm in his, her iridescent skin catching the sunlight in a cascade of violet and azure. Their bond, now a constant pulse between them, felt like a second heartbeat. "You belong here," Lyra projected, her telepathic voice soft yet certain, leaning into him. "My people see your spirit, the fire of humanity that burns even in the dark." Alex squeezed her hand, his gaze sweeping over the alien world. "It's incredible," he said, voice thick with awe. "Never thought I'd stand on a planet like this, let alone with someone like you." The Illyrians were a race of elegance and empathy, their society woven from shared emotions and collective wisdom. Their councils met in open forums, decisions shaped by the ebb and flow of linked minds. Alex, the lone human, was a curiosity, a novelty, whose blunt honesty and stubborn resolve both amused and intrigued the elders. "Tell us of Earth," they urged during a gathering in a crystal amphitheater, their tendrils swaying like reeds in a breeze. He spoke of humanity's triumphs and flaws, sprawling cities that reached for the sky, wars that scarred the land, and the relentless drive that propelled them to the stars. "We're messy," he admitted, a wry smile tugging at his lips. "But we keep pushing forward, no matter the odds." The elders listened, their empathic links rippling with fascination. Lyra stood at his side, her pride in him a warm glow in his mind. "Your stories are like our songs," an elder projected, her voice a chorus of harmonies. Bold, unyielding, full of heart. But beneath the beauty of Illyria, a shadow loomed. Scouts reported collector fleets massing at the system's edge, their ships bristling with weapons. Lyra confided in Alex one night, her tendrils trembling as they lay together in her family's spire. "They want me back," she projected, fear tinging her thoughts. "And now, they want our world to strip its resources, enslave its people." Alex pulled her close, his arms a shield against her dread. "We'll fight together," he said, his voice steady. "They won't take you, or Illyria, not while I'm here." Preparations for war consumed the days. Illyrian technology, empathic amplifiers, energy shields woven from crystal matrices meshed with Alex's human ingenuity. He worked alongside engineers, rigging drones with improvised explosives based on Earth designs, turning defensive tools into weapons of defiance. Lyra, ever at his side, used her empathic gifts to coordinate teams, her mind linking warriors and strategists in a seamless web of intent. In stolen moments, their love burned fierce. One evening, they escaped to a crystal garden, its flowers glowing like stars under the twin moons. Lyra shed her robes, her skin a canvas of shifting colors, and Alex followed, drawn into her orbit, their bodies entwined, her tendrils tracing paths across his skin, amplifying every touch into a symphony of sensation. Each kiss was a spark, each caress a wave of pleasure that echoed through their bond. "This bond," he murmured against her lips, "it's our weapon, stronger than any fleet." She gasped, her eyes glowing brighter. "It's our soul, Alex, unbreakable." The battle came swiftly, a storm breaking over Illyria's skies. Collector ships descended, their dark hulls blotting out the suns, laser beams lancing through the atmosphere. Alex piloted a sleek Illyrian fighter, its controls alien yet responsive, while Lyra coordinated from a command spire, her empathic link guiding squadrons with precision. "Left flank weak strike now," she projected, her voice a beacon in his mind. Explosions bloomed in the void as Alex's human tactics, unpredictable, aggressive, shattered the Collector's formations. The Illyrians fought with a grace born of unity, their empathic amplifiers disrupting enemy tech, sowing chaos. The tide turned, but not without cost. Lyra's fighter took a hit, its wings sparking as it spiraled toward a crystal plane. Alex's heart seized. He dove after her, weaving through enemy fire, his fighter a blur of defiance. Boarding her damaged craft, he found her pinned in the wreckage, her glow dim but alive. "I'm here," he projected, echoing her strength as he cut through debris. Her tendrils reached for him, their bond a lifeline pulling them through. Together, they rallied the Illyrian forces, Lyra's empathic bursts crippling the Collector's command ship. Alex's drones struck true, explosions ripping through the enemy flagship. The fleet retreated, their ships limping into hyperspace, leaving Illyria's skies clear once more. In the aftermath, Alex and Lyra stood amid the ruins of a shattered spire, hands clasped, bodies bruised but unbroken. The twin suns rose again, bathing them in light. "We did it," Alex said, his voice raw as he pulled her into a deep, desperate kiss. Her tendrils wrapped around him, their bond pulsing with triumph and love. The Illyrians hailed them as heroes, their story already weaving into the planet's songs. But Lyra led Alex to a sacred grove where the air shimmered with ancient energy. "Our bond calls for more," she whispered, her eyes alight. "A ritual under the moons to seal our souls eternally." As night fell, the grove awaited a place of light, love, and the promise of forever, where their sensual bond would transcend the stars themselves. The twin moons of Illyria hung like twin opals in the velvet sky, their silver light bathing the sacred grove in an ethereal glow. The air shimmered with the hum of crystal flora, their petals unfurling like tiny stars, pulsing in rhythm with the planet's heartbeat. Alex Harlan walked hand in hand with Lyra through the grove, the bioluminescent grass soft beneath their feet, each step a quiet vow. The battle for Illyria had left scars on the land, on their bodies, but it had forged their bond into something unbreakable, a force that felt as ancient as the cosmos itself. "Tonight, we complete the bond," Lyra projected, her telepathic voice a caress, warm and intimate, as she squeezed his hand. "In my culture, the ritual of the moon seals two souls as one, eternal across the stars." Alex's heart swelled, a mix of anticipation and reverence. "I'm ready," he said, his voice steady despite the flutter in his chest. "For you, for us." The grove was a natural amphitheater, its crystal formations amplifying the emotions of those within. Illyrian elders gathered at the edges, their tendrils swaying in silent blessing, their minds linked in a chorus of approval. Lyra led Alex to the center, where a pool of liquid crystal reflected the moon's light, its surface rippling like a living mirror. She shed her robes, her iridescent skin glowing brighter, shifting through hues of violet, azure, and gold. Alex followed, his human form stark yet proud beside her alien grace, vulnerable in the moonlight. They knelt facing each other, the air thick with anticipation. Lyra's tendrils extended, encircling him gently, their tips brushing his shoulders, his chest, his temples. A flood of sensations poured through him, her love, vast as an ocean, deep as a black hole, her joy, a supernova igniting his soul. His own emotions answered passion, fierce and human, tempered by a tenderness he'd never known before her. Their bodies drew closer, skin against skin, her warmth melding with his. Each touch was a spark, amplified by the grove's energy, a sensual current that pulsed through them both. The ritual was more than physical, it was a merging of essences. Her tendrils wove patterns around him, guiding his hands to her curves, her skin vibrating in sync with his heartbeat. Pleasure cascaded in waves, each kiss a burst of light, each caress a tide of ecstasy. Their minds linked fully, emotions blending into a single, radiant whole. His courage, her grace, their shared defiance of the universe's cruelty. The grove's crystals sang, their harmonics rising, amplifying the intensity until they reached a crescendo, a burst of light that seemed to ripple through the stars themselves. Forever, they thought as one, their voices entwined in the bond, their bodies trembling in the aftermath of transcendence. As dawn broke, the elders retreated, their blessings a soft hum in the air. Alex and Lyra lay together in the grass, her glow softening, his arms around her. The bond was sealed, a connection that transcended species, a love that burned brighter than Illyria's suns. "I feel you," Alex whispered, tracing a finger along her cheek. "Not just here, but everywhere." "And I you," she replied, her eyes luminous with joy. "Our souls are one now, Alex of Earth." The days that followed were a fragile peace. Illyria's cities rebuilt, their crystal spires rising anew from the battle's wreckage. Alex integrated into their society, his human ingenuity a bridge between worlds. He worked with engineers, blending Earth's practical tech with Illyrian empathic systems, designing shields that could withstand collector assaults. The people embraced him, their songs weaving tales of the human who fought for their world. His bond with Lyra, a symbol of unity. Lyra bloomed beside him, her confidence growing as she guided him through Illyrian customs. They swam in crystal pools, the water amplifying their bond, their touches sparking waves of pleasure that lingered long after. Nights were spent under the moons, their intimacy evolving, sometimes gentle, sometimes fierce. Always a dance of human and alien souls. Her tendrils explored him with a curiosity that never faded, each touch a rediscovery, while his kisses grounded her in the physicality of human love. But whispers of a new threat crept through the councils. The collectors had not been fully defeated. Scouts reported sightings of their ships, regrouping in the shadows of nearby systems. "They'll come again," an elder warned, her tendrils trembling. "Their greed knows no end." Alex and Lyra stood together in a council chamber, their bond a steady pulse. "We've beaten them before," Alex said, his voice carrying the weight of human defiance. "We'll do it again." Lyra's hand found his, her empathic strength bolstering his resolve. "As one," she projected, her eyes fierce with love. They trained with Illyrian warriors, Alex teaching guerrilla tactics honed in Earth's wars, Lyra amplifying their morale with her empathic gifts. In quiet moments, they retreated to the grove, their sanctuary, where the memory of the ritual lingered. One night, as they lay entwined, her skin glowing softly, she spoke of Illyria's ancient prophecies. "They say a bond like ours, human and Illyrian, heralds a new era, a bridge between stars." Alex kissed her forehead, his heart full. "Then let's build that bridge, one fight at a time." The call to action came sooner than expected. A distress signal from an Illyrian outpost near the system's edge. Collectors attacking, their ships cutting through defenses like knives. Alex and Lyra boarded a scout ship, their bond a guiding light as they raced to the fray. The outpost was a smoldering ruin, but survivors fought on, their empathic links crying out for aid. Alex piloted with precision, weaving through enemy fire, while Lyra's tendrils pulsed, disrupting collector tech with bursts of emotion. They rescued the survivors, but the cost was clear. The collectors were planning a larger assault, their forces bolstered by new allies, mercenaries drawn by the promise of Illyria's wealth. Back on Illyria, the councils debated, but Alex and Lyra were resolute. "We take the fight to them," Alex said, his human fire igniting the room. "Hit their bases, Disrupt their plans before they reach us. Lyra stood beside him, her glow a beacon. Our bond is our strength, she projected, her voice resonating through the gathered minds. Together, we are unstoppable. As they prepared for the next battle, the moons rose again, casting their light over the grove. Alex and Lyra stole one last moment, their bodies entwined, their bond a fire that burned against the gathering dark. The ritual had sealed their souls, but the fight ahead would test its strength, a love born in escape, now a weapon to save a world. The crystal spires of Illyria gleamed under the twin suns, their harmonic songs a fragile counterpoint to the undercurrent of dread rippling through the planet. Whispers of a new threat had solidified into grim certainty. Zorath, a collector overlord, was orchestrating a vengeful assault. His fleets, augmented by mercenary allies and dark technologies, massed in the shadows of the Lyra cluster, their intent clear to crush Illyria and reclaim Lyra, whose escape had sparked their fury. Alex Harlan stood in a war chamber, his human resolve a stark contrast to the fluid grace of the Illyrian counselors. Lyra's hand rested in his, her empathic pulse a steady rhythm anchoring him. "We hit their supply lines," Alex urged, his voice cutting through the chamber's hum. "Earth tactics, guerrilla strikes, disrupt their logistics. We don't wait for them to come to us." An elder's tendrils swayed, her thoughts cautious but intrigued. "Your strategies are bold, human. But Zorath is no ordinary foe. His mind is shielded, his forces vast." Lyra's glow intensified, her voice resonating in the minds of all. "We've faced their cruelty before. Our bond, human and Illyrian, gives us strength they cannot fathom." The council agreed, swayed by the fire in Alex's words and the unity in Lyra's empathic presence. Preparations accelerated. Illyrian ships were armed with hybrid weapons, blending crystal tech with Alex's improvised explosives. Lyra trained warriors to channel their empathic bursts as weapons, disrupting enemy systems with waves of emotion. Alex, ever the pragmatist, pored over star charts, pinpointing weak points in the collector's network fuel depots, comm relays, staging grounds. Amid the tension, their bond flourished, a beacon in the storm. In their private chamber, high in a spire overlooking the glowing plains, they explored the depths of their connection. Lyra's tendrils traced sensual patterns across Alex's skin, her touch igniting sparks of pleasure that echoed through their link. "You make me feel alive," she projected, her eyes luminous as they moved together, bodies entwined in a dance of passion. His hands roamed her curves, grounding her alien grace with human ardor, their gasps mingling with the spire's soft hum. Each encounter was a rediscovery, their bond amplifying every sensation, her glow pulsing brighter with every climax, his heart racing in sync. "You're my fire," Alex murmured, post-ecstasy, his breath warm against her neck. "No matter what comes, you're my reason." "And you mine," she replied, her tendrils wrapping around him, a sensual cocoon of light and warmth. Their training missions took them to frontier worlds, scouting collector movements. On a volcanic planet, its air thick with ash, they evaded patrols in a geothermal cave. Steam rose around them, their bodies slick as they surrendered to urgency, making love amid the heat. Lyra's skin glowed like molten glass, her empathic link shielding them from fear, turning it into passion. "Our bond is our refuge," she projected, her voice a melody as their bodies moved in rhythm with the planet's tremors. But Zorath's shadow grew closer. A massive assault struck Illyria's outer defenses, collector ships tearing through outposts like blades. Alex led a strike team, piloting a hybrid fighter, while Lyra coordinated from a command hub, her empathic signals guiding squadrons with precision. The battle was chaos, lasers lit the void, debris spun through space, and the collector's mercenary allies fought with brutal efficiency. Alex's fighter weaved through the fray, his human instincts outmaneuvering the enemy's rigid formations. Lyra's voice in his mind was a lifeline. "Zorath's flagship is the key, disable it," and their chain breaks. Her empathic bursts disrupted enemy comms, sowing confusion. while Alex's drones struck supply ships, explosions blooming like flowers in the dark. The tide turned, but Zorath's flagship remained, a monstrous vessel bristling with cannons. Alex made a reckless call, boarding it with a small team, his pulse pistol blazing. The interior was a labyrinth of cold metal and pulsing tech, a stark contrast to Illyria's warmth. Lyra's presence guided him, her empathic link a beacon through the chaos. "I'm with you," she projected, her strength steadying his hand. He found Zorath in the command core, a hulking figure, half organic, half machine, his eyes glowing with malevolent intent. "You took her once," Alex growled, his pistol trained. "Never again." Zorath laughed, a grating sound. "You think your bond makes you strong? It makes you predictable." Lyra's voice surged in Alex's mind, fierce and unyielding. "Now!" Her empathic burst flooded the chamber, shorting Zorath's augments, his mechanical limbs sparking. Alex fired, a single shot, piercing the Overlord's core. The flagship shuddered as its systems failed, the fleet crumbling without its leader. Alex and Lyra reunited on Illyria, the skies clear once more. The victory was hard-won, the planet scarred but standing. In a crystal plaza, they embraced, their bond pulsing with relief and love. "We did it," Alex said, his voice hoarse, pulling her into a kiss that tasted of triumph and sweat. But the war wasn't over. Whispers of surviving collectors lingered, their allies regrouping in the void. Lyra led Alex to their grove, where the moon's light still lingered. "Our bond is eternal," she projected, her tendrils brushing his face. "But our fight continues." He nodded, his hand in hers. Together, always. As they stood under the stars, their love a defiant flame, they knew the battles ahead would test them, but their sensual bond, forged in escape and sealed in ritual, would light their way. The crystal spires of Illyria shimmered under the light of its twin suns, their songs of harmony rising like a promise of peace. Yet, for Alex Harlan and Lyra, peace was a fleeting dream, a fragile moment snatched between battles. The defeat of Zorath had crippled the collectors, but their shadow lingered in the cosmos, scattered remnants plotting in the dark. Illyria's councils spoke of rebuilding, of fortifying their world, but Alex and Lyra felt the pull of the stars, a call to bridge worlds, to carry their bond beyond the planet's glowing horizons. "We can't stay," Alex said, standing with Lyra on the balcony of their spire, the wind carrying the hum of crystal flora. "There's more out there, worlds to connect, threats to face. Our bond, it's bigger than Illyria." "That?" Lyra's iridescent skin glowed softly, her tendrils brushing his arm, sending a ripple of warmth through their link. "You're right," she projected, her voice a melody of resolve and love. "We are a bridge, human and Illyrian, a symbol of what's possible. Let's take our story to the stars." The Illyrians gifted them a new ship, the Eternal Bond, a sleek vessel blending human engineering with crystalline tech. Its hull shimmered like Lyra's skin, its systems humming with empathic amplifiers that responded to her touch. As ambassadors of unity, Alex and Lyra set out to forge alliances, to spread the tale of their bond, a human and an alien, defying the galaxy's divides. Their mission was clear: connect worlds, strengthen defenses, and hunt down the last of the collectors before they could rise again. The Eternal Bond leaped into hyperspace, the stars streaking past like threads of light. In the quiet of the journey, their love flourished, a constant flame against the void. They celebrated anniversaries in the ship's observation deck, the cosmos their backdrop. Lyra's tendrils wove around Alex, her skin pulsing in rhythm with their shared heartbeat. Their intimacy had evolved, each touch a rediscovery, each kiss a reaffirmation of their eternal ritual. "You ground me," she whispered in his mind, her body pressed against his, their passion a dance of light and heat. "And you lift me," he replied, lost in her glow, their bond amplifying every sensation into waves of ecstasy. Challenges met them on every world. On a desert planet, they negotiated with a reptilian species. their bond soothing tensions as Lyra's empathy bridged cultural gaps. Alex's human pragmatism won their trust, securing trade routes to bolster Illyria's defenses. On a gas giant's floating city, they faced xenophobic traders, their unity a quiet defiance that turned skeptics into allies. Each triumph deepened their connection, their love a weapon against division. But the Collector's remnants haunted their path. A covert base on an icy moon revealed their plans, a new overlord rising, rallying survivors for a final strike. Alex and Lyra infiltrated the base, their bond a shield against the cold. In a darkened chamber, they sabotaged the enemy's reactors, Lyra's empathic bursts scrambling their defenses while Alex planted charges. As alarms blared, they fled hand in hand, their escape a mirror of their first, the explosion lighting the sky behind them. In the aftermath, they lay together in the Eternal Bond's cabin, the hum of hyperspace a lullaby. Lyra's tendrils traced patterns on his chest, her glow soft but unyielding. "Our escape was just the beginning," she projected, her voice tinged with wonder. This is our forever." Alex smiled, his hand cupping her face. "And our bond. The endless journey." They returned to Illyria periodically. Their arrivals met with songs of their deeds. The planet thrived, its alliances with other worlds growing, a network of hope woven by their efforts. But the stars always called them back. On a jungle world, they danced under alien skies, their bodies entwined in a clearing of glowing vines, the bond pulsing with sensual fire. On a crystalline asteroid, they made love amid floating shards, the void itself a witness to their unity. The final threat came in the Orion Nebula, where the last Collector stronghold hid. Alex led a coalition of Illyrian and allied ships, his tactics sharp and unrelenting. Lyra's empathic link unified the fleet, her voice guiding them through the chaos. The battle was fierce, ships falling like stars, but their bond held strong, a beacon cutting through the dark. When the stronghold fell, the galaxy breathed easier. The Collector's threat reduced to ash. Back on Illyria, Alex and Lyra stood in their sacred grove, the moons casting their silver light. The planet's songs now carried their names, a legend of love and defiance. "We've built something," Alex said, his voice soft, his arms around her. "A future where no one has to run." Lyra's eyes glowed, her tendrils weaving around him. "And we've built us," she projected, their bond a fire that burned eternal. As they boarded the Eternal Bond for their next voyage, the stars stretched before them, infinite and inviting. Their love, born in a desperate escape, sealed in a ritual of moons, and tempered in battle, was a light that would guide the galaxy toward unity, a sensual, unbreakable bond, defying the cosmos itself.